Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Upstate Yankee Boy coming live and direct with the latest Yankees news, rumors, and off-season updates. Today's video, we're going to talk about the latest Yankees moves that they've made. Also, we're going to get into Manny Machado and all this San Diego Padres business. I know a lot of people out there are wondering what's going on with Manny Machado. Is he going to the White Sox, the Phillies, the Yankees, or one of these quote-unquote mystery teams? Well, as most of you know, last Friday I came out with a tweet. I had mentioned that the Padres happened to be a mystery team or one of the mystery teams. They say that there's two mystery teams out there. I think the Yankees are considered a mystery team just because they haven't been mentioned as much anymore with Machado. But I will get into this as far as Manny Machado and the Padres, what I tweeted and how I honestly feel about it. What I did tweet was that Machado had 4 offers on the table. One from the Yankees, one from the Phillies, one from the White Sox, and one from the Padres. Now, from my source, who is a Pensacola newsletter, he writes in the sports section there. That's who my source is. I'm not going to get into personal information just because, I want to keep that private. But he told me that San Diego happened to be the mystery team. He also told me that they had the highest offer. He gave me all the numbers. The Padres were at 8 years and $225 million. Now, obviously, over the last 2 days, we've seen on MLB Trade Rumors, MLB.com, Twitter, the New York Post, the Daily News. Everyone's talking about the Padres now. John Heyman's talking about the Padres. Joel King of the New York Post is talking about the Padres. Everyone's talking about the Padres. The only thing that we didn't hear from any of those guys is how serious the Padres were. Obviously, they have certain information, but they may not have all the information that's possibly out there, and that could be a reason why they didn't say that an offer was out there. I will say this, there is definitely an offer out there. The Padres are definitely seriously in on Machado. I do believe that they are the highest bidder, and I do believe that they probably may go up in their bid. Now, I will say this, all offseason, the Padres have been in contact with the Yankees about their third baseman, the runner-up for Rookie of the Year last year, Miguel Andujar. I do think that the Padres need a third base upgrade. I think Machado is their first choice. I think Andujar is another choice. If the Yankees were to acquire Machado, the Padres have plenty of pitching depth in their minor league system that they could trade for Andujar, and the Yankees are in need of some pitching prospects that are real top notch. Their farm system has gotten a little weaker over the last couple years due to some trades that they've made and stuff like that. Guys going up to the big league club, but also another name that's been out there is Mike Moustakas. Mike Moustakas is also another high target for the Padres. He's someone high on their list. He's someone that they're also serious about. I don't have any, in-depth information on that. When you have sources, I tell people all the time. If you really have a source, there's no guarantee in what the information is. What you do is you get this information, you sit on it, you think about it, and you try to connect the dots, because at the end of the day, just like sources for major league writers, they don't get 100% accurate information. I do believe that my information is 100% accurate. I do believe in the source that I got it from. I don't think he is to be a liar. He's a 40-something-year-old man who's a father. He writes for a newspaper company. He's been there for over 20 years. Straight from college, he went right to the Pensacola newsletter. So I don't think that he is someone who would be lying or making something up just, for clout or for, people to believe him or whatever the case may be. I would not be surprised that when this Machado sweepstakes is all over, that, you know, the San Diego Padres either A, sign him, or B, you know, it's out there that they were seriously involved. Over the last 2 weeks, I know the Padres have been the most aggressive team. I was told that, and I was told, you know, what their offer was. Now, one thing to take into consideration is in the last 2 weeks, we've seen the White Sox not go higher on their offer. We've seen the Phillies, you know, they pivoted to Bryce Harper. They're not so much in on Machado like they used to be. And then the Yankees, they've wanted Machado from day one, but they don't want to spend $250-300 million on this guy because they have Giancarlo Stanton's contract. So if they could get a 7 to 8 year deal in the low 200s, that would be something where the Yankees would prefer to be. I think that they've stayed out of the sweepstakes for a long time because they're more looking to, you know, give a final offer when this is all said and done. You know, with Manny Machado being connected to Alex Rodriguez, Carlos Beltran, and a few other guys like that that are, you know, associated with the Yankees organization, I would definitely not count them out yet. Also, a report came out that Chicago had a 7-year, $175 million offer, and Machado's agent came out and said that wasn't true. I heard that that was actually the Yankees' offer, that the White Sox were at 7 years, $210 million, and they aren't budging off that. That's where they're staying. That's where they want to be. And think about it, Chicago's never been a big money-spending team. The Phillies definitely could spend money, but they want Harper. The White Sox aren't moving on their offer. The Yankees definitely could spend money, but they don't want to go crazy banana, you know, trying to spend all this money on, you know, a player when they necessarily don't need him. You got the rookie, or the runner-up for Rookie of the Year, Miguel Andujar, so it's not a necessity for Manny Machado to join the Yankees. Now, that brings us back to San Diego. That's why I believe San Diego is a very serious team. And the reason why I believe that they're a very, very serious team is because A, they need the position upgrade. B, they got the money to spend. And C, they're willing to spend it. Last year they spent over $150 million on Eric Hosmer. So if you don't think that they're going to go out and get another guy, or at least get some decent guys like a Mike Moustakas or a Marwin Gonzalez, you're crazy. They're going to spend money. They also might go after some pitching. That is very possible too. So keep San Diego in the back of your mind. Remember what I said. And when, you know, this all settles and dust clears, I truly believe it's either going to be San Diego or the Yankees. I don't believe that the White Sox are going to offer more money, and I think that's why Machado won't go there. And I believe the Phillies are all in on Harper, and they're willing to probably give him 300 plus. So if that's the case, that leaves the Padres and the Yankees as known teams to still have interest and possibly willing to go higher on their bids for Manny Machado. So that's where I'll leave that for now. I'll probably have another video in the next week or so. You know, once I get some more information, if any new offers come out, if my guy hits me, he don't hit me all the time. You know, he hit me twice this year. And he hit me about Patrick Corbin, and he told me that the Nationals were definitely the favorites, and it wasn't the Phillies, and the Yankees were number 2. He was right on that. I didn't post anything about that because I didn't think that it was true. He wasn't necessarily my source at the time. He was just somebody I talked to. And I honestly, as a Yankees fan, kind of was hell-bent on the Yankees getting him. So, and he's an upstate New York guy from Syracuse, which is about 15 minutes from my house. So I definitely was pulling for Patrick Corbin. That never happened. But that's when my source first let me know of any information that he had. And when that happened, I said, all right, this guy, he knows a little something. And then, you know, he came and told me about the San Diego Padres Machado thing. I said, he might have something, but, you know, I'll wait it out. And so I posted it. When I posted those numbers and the rumor of the Padres being involved with Machado, I was about 70-30, 80-20, believing that it was true. And then when John Heyman came out and confirmed everything that my source told me, I knew that my source was accurate. I knew that he was legitimate. This was 2 for 2 this offseason. So I honestly believe that it's coming down to the Padres and the Yankees. I also got from my source this: Machado would prefer to sign by February 1st, but that doesn't necessarily mean that's going to happen. But with that in mind, that would leave us with one more week, before he signs, if that is in fact his deadline. So it's definitely something for us to keep a tab on, keep our eyes locked in on that, because it possibly could happen any day, any time, any minute. You don't know what's going on behind closed doors. You don't know if Machado went and visited another team. All we know, he could have already visited the Padres. Every free agent does not announce their visits to every single team. I mean, how many players sign out of the blue? Like today, we got A.J. Pollock signed with the Dodgers. There was no announcement of A.J. Pollock doing some type of tour to go, see the Dodgers. But there was rumors, and a week later, he signs with them. So every time a player talks to a team, or his agent talks to a team, there's not always a meeting. And if there is a meeting, there's not always a public announcement to that. So we got to keep that in mind. My final thing on this Machado thing, I believe that his final offer from the Padres will probably be about 8 years, 240 to 250. And I think the Yankees are going to get to about 8 years, 220, 225. And at that point in time, Machado has to ask himself the question: Do I go to the up and coming rebuilding team that is, a year or two away for the most money? Or do I go to the sure thing right now, where I already want to be, where a lot of my friends are at, where people in the organization are friends of mine as well, and take a little less money and go after championships for the next 5 years? Another thing with that is Machado could also get endorsements, for the money that he loses from New York. I mean, there's a lot of money to make on endorsements in New York. So I would say it would definitely be coming down to the Padres and the Yankees, and I think we're in our last stretch. I think here in the next week, 2 weeks tops, we're going to hear an announcement of Machado signing. Do not expect the Phillies. The Phillies are the least likely team, I would say. The White Sox would be, the next team that's least likely. Then the Yankees and the Padres. So if you ask me my order of most likely where Machado goes, I say 1, Padres, 2, Yankees, 3, White Sox, 4, Phillies. And, I'll leave it there. And, on the next video, when I do get any information or updates, or I hear anything, or Machado signs, or whatever the case may be, I will bring a video out and I will say more about it. But that's where my opinion is on the information I've got, the information I've shared with you guys, and what I think is going to happen. Now on to some Yankee news. I know a lot of people watch my videos specifically for the Yankees, so I don't want to spend too much time on the Machado thing. That's why I'm going to get into these Yankee things. As far as the Yankees, since my last video, the Yankees have signed Adam Ottavino and Zach Britton. I know most of you guys are already aware of that, reading the MLB.com, MLB trade rumors, stuff like that. There's a lot of big media outlets that, get information out there pretty quick. So most people that follow my videos or follow me on Twitter, they already have this information. I'm just sharing it in case there is someone out there that hasn't caught up. Adam Ottavino is a Brooklyn native. He's got a nasty wipeout slider. He strikes, like 14 people out per 9 innings. Interesting story, in 2017, he had a bad year, 5+ ERA, walking everyone and their mother. And then when he did throw a strike, he got cracked out the ballpark. I think he gave up like 8 or 9 home runs as a reliever, which is a whole lot. Last year, he was lights out, and the story came out that he actually rented out a warehouse from his father-in-law in exchange for a signed Nolan Arenado bat, and he let him train there for about 3 months for free. During that time, Ottavino bought some equipment. It was camera equipment that you put on your hat. So when you do a pitch, it takes over 3,000 pictures of your pitch, and the pictures give you an idea of where your pitch should be going and where it is and where it shouldn't be going. So it's a high tech thing. I think he paid like $16,000 for this camera. So he definitely put in the work last year, and he well deserved got the contract. I think he's going to be a similar player to Dellin Betances. A little wild at times, but when he's on, he's close to unhittable. So I think the Yankees definitely got a more formidable bullpen. I think David Robertson might be a little more of a consistent reliever than Ottavino, but Ottavino's upside is way, way, way more than David Robertson. So I think the Yankees went after Ottavino because they're going for the upside. In order to win a championship, sometimes you got to go for upside, and sometimes you got to take a risk on a player, because if you let something from a player's past, or a habit, or if a player's inconsistent, sometimes you got to take that risk that the player is going to catch on, or that he's going to have a good year. Because if you don't, and you go with every guy that you think is a sure deal, then you out of nowhere, one or two guys have these bad seasons, or they get hurt, or whatever. That could derail your chances at a championship. I mean, look at the Yankees last year. It seemed like every player hit the DL, but Boston Red Sox, Mookie Betts and I think Bogarts went on the DL for a little period of time for 15, 20 games. Other than that, everyone was healthy all year. So health is a key factor, So I think the Yankees definitely, if they stay healthy with the upside of the team that they have right now and the possibility of bringing in a Machado, that would definitely be something big. They also brought in DJ LeMahieu and Troy Tulowitzki, which everybody probably knows also by now. LeMahieu, he brings a Gold Glove, possible 300 hitter, 15 to 20 home runs. I think he's going to be someone that's going to be good if we keep Andahar, because we could push Andahar to designated hitter, and LeMahieu could play second, and Gleyber Torres actually could get moved to third base. So your infield would be Torres, Didi, or Tulowitzki for the time being, and then LeMahieu, which gives you, all four of those guys are Gold Glove caliber, infielders, especially Didi and LeMahieu. Tulowitzki's a little older now, and Torres is young, so we don't know for sure if those two guys are going to consistently bring that caliber defense. But I think Didi and LeMahieu, they're definitely locks to bring that Gold Glove defense, and you need that in the infield. And I told people all the time, if you had the choice to have Gardner in the outfield and Andahar at third, or if Andahar had to DH, you would have Giancarlo in the outfield and Gleyber at third, I would take Giancarlo, because the reality is infielders have to make more plays on balls than outfielders. And if I'm gonna have someone out there, at least Giancarlo Stanton is a half decent outfielder, and Gleyber Torres is a very, very solid defensive infielder. To whereas you got Andahar, who's below average at defense, and Gardner, who's really good at defense, you're gonna have a lot of balls getting through that infield, or a lot of errors being made, unless Andahar really cleans up his defense, which it really takes about 2 to 3 years before he clean up. I will say this. Adrian Beltre had the same problem when he came up. He made a lot of errors. He was good, but he had the same problem as Andahar. He could get to the balls, and he's got a cannon of an arm. But his footwork, when he plants to make that throw, Andahar could just sling the ball all the way into the crowd. That's the problem. It's not his actual fielding or the strength of his throwing arm. It's the accuracy of his throwing and the way that he plants his feet when he makes that throw, which is really causing for him to make a lot of errors. So maybe, Andahar does stay at third, but if I were the Yankees, I would put him at DH and have LeMahieu and Torres at second and third respectively, because I think that would give him the best defense. Let's see. Sonny Gray got traded. I'm sure all you guys know that. All Yankee fans are probably excited. They traded him for the 36th pick in this upcoming year's draft, and Shed Long, who was a second base / catcher prospect, and he'll be in AAA. However, they flipped him to Seattle for an outfielder whose name is Josh Stowers. Now, I thought his name was Stowers, S. Towers. I figure that's how you pronounce it, but it's actually Stowers, which is kind of similar to Stores. So Josh Stowers is the outfield prospect they got. He'll be 22 this year, and he'll probably start the season in high A ball. Hopefully, finish his double A ball. And, maybe by next year or the year after, we'll be hearing a little more about this guy. But he's blazing fast. He stole a whole bunch of bases his first year in the minors. He hit 260, 380 on base percent. He takes a lot of walks, and he's got a little power. So he might be a good guy, down the road. Maybe 2 or 3 years it's on our roster. So it might turn out to be a great move for the Yankees. But they definitely freed up $7.5 million, and they got the cancer of Sonny Gray off the team. And it worked out for Sonny Gray. He got a 3-year, $30 million extension. So he can't complain either. We got 22 days. We got Jacoby days until spring training starts. Well, pitchers and catchers report. I'm excited. I know I'll be watching Yes Network probably every day once spring training starts. So I'm excited for that. Two guys that I wanted to bring up. I mean, we already know about Luis Sessa. We know about Domingo Germán. We know about Chance Adams. We know about Jonathan Loaisiga. We know about Jonathan Tarpley. Okay? But the one guy, or the two guys that people have failed to talk about was number one is Michael King. I see this guy pitch, and I'm not an expert, but I've watched a fair share of baseball since 1998. And he reminds me a lot of Greg Maddux. And I mean, whoa, that's a lot right now. Maybe you shouldn't be throwing that out there. But yeah, I'm going to say it. He reminds me of Greg Maddux. This guy is something special. If he can continue to develop, I could see him pitching for the Yankees by the end of this year. Another guy to watch out for, he's 20 years old this year. He'll be in Double A, is Deivi Garcia. Deivi Garcia is a problem. This dude, 19 years old last year, was lighting up Single A, moved up to Double A, made a start. I think he pitched 5 innings in his one start at Double A, and he didn't give up a run. But, he was dominating Single A ball. So look for him, in the high A ball, Double A this year. And you can expect Michael King to be starting the season in Scranton Wilkes-Barre in Triple A. And, tell you what, this guy keeps it up. Don't be surprised in, a month or two of the season you see this guy, pitching for the Yankees. One thing I wanted to bring up, I know that there is a thing floating around with Bryce Harper's face on the Yankees scoreboard monitor. I think that was fake. I mean, I didn't look a whole lot into it. I think it was fake, but I do not think the Yankees' interest in Bryce Harper is fake. I don't think they're definitely a serious suitor at this point. I don't think they're, at the point where they're willing to give him that $300 million contract. But hey, don't be surprised if you hear a little Bryce Harper Yankees, rumors going on. Now, I will say that's my personal opinion. You know what I mean? I don't have 100% facts or a source or anyone telling me that the Yankees are in on Harper. But I personally believe that they're a little bit in there on him, and they're going to check in here and there. Just like they've been checking in and monitoring Manny Machado. They've been monitoring his whole situation since day one. And everyone says, oh, they got LeMahieu, they got Tulowitzki. He's not going. Well, they could cut Tulowitzki, or they could trade Andahar. I mean, you could trade Andahar for a top 3 prospect in a system right now who's a pitcher that can make an impact in the next year or two. So don't be surprised if the Yankees, do that. Now, however, I'm not 100% sure Machado will take less money. I do think the Yankees will come with a competitive offer, but I still believe that there's another team out there that will offer him more. Right now, I believe that team to be the San Diego Padres. But also Harper, if Harper can't sign with the Phillies or the Nationals or the White Sox or the Dodgers, I mean, who else is out there for him to sign? He wants to be a Yankee. I mean, if the Yankees offer, say, a 5-year, $200 million contract, is he going to say no to that? I mean, that's $40 million a year. I don't think it'll happen, but, it's still a chance. Until these guys are signed and wearing uniforms, it's only speculation and rumors and people's opinions on where they're going to be. My personal opinion, I've always thought Machado to the Yankees was a very likely thing, and I honestly believe that it's come down to two teams now. So you got to really look at, all the stuff that's come out over the last 2 weeks. White Sox, if they were going to sign Machado, or they were going to give him more money, chances are they would have already done it by now. They were offering him, that 7-year, $210 million contract, for a while. I heard that their first offer was actually 6 years, 180, and then they bumped up to 7 for 210, and they were like, this is it. Then the Yankees were kind of like having a deadline, possibly. A lot of people said that the Yankees had a deadline and that Machado didn't meet the deadline, so they kind of bowed out. I don't believe that that's true, though. I think that they just set a number out there, and Machado's, threw a number out there at them, and they looked at the number and said, you know what, that's not something we're willing to do. Machado probably asked for 10 years, $300 million. But if nobody's going, past 240 or 250, who's to say the Yankees can't go in there and offer 220, 230 and get him? Because if he wants to be a Yankee that bad, he'll take less money. I mean, any player would, because it's honestly about $2 million a year. You know what I mean? Over the 8 years, $20 million over 8 years, it comes out to like $2.5 million a year. So are you going to take $30 million a year, or are you going to take $27.5 million a year with the opportunity to make endorsements and win a championship? That's really where he's at. But if someone offers over 250, I would guarantee that the Yankees are 100% out of it. Just because they're not going to go spending more than 250. But I told people all the time, Bryce Harper and Machado were expected to get these huge contracts and all this stuff. Bryce Harper and Machado were also expected to sign with the Yankees. Now they're not getting their $300 million plus contracts, and the Yankees are claiming not to be in on them. Makes a lot of sense that if the Yankees don't give out a $300 million contract, who's going to do it? That's the question. The Phillies, they could do it. They got the salary cap space to do it. They're in a medium level market, but they got the salary cap space. But the question is, are they going to make enough revenue over the 8 or 10 year of the contract to pay it off? The one thing people forget about the Yankees is they spend the money that they spend, not because salary cap space, but because the revenue that they bring in, they can afford $200, $300 million contracts. Now, you look at teams like Texas when they had A-Rod, Detroit with Miguel Cabrera, Seattle with Robinson Cano, the Angels with Albert Pujols. These teams signed all these guys, and these contracts turned out to be bad, and each one of these teams started to fail and or trade away the player because they couldn't afford the contract no more. And you got to win to bring in revenue. I mean, the only teams that could really lose right now and still bring in revenue are the Yankees, the Red Sox, the Dodgers. They're already big market clubs that have been good and won championships for so long. So if they had a 3 or 5 year stretch where they weren't a good team, they're still going to bring in revenue. Look at the New York Knicks. They're the worst team in the NBA, but the Knicks are worth, the franchise is worth more than any other basketball franchise, over the Lakers, over the Celtics. I mean, the Lakers is a surprise because they're not only a great team, but they've over time, but they also are a big market. So you look at the Knicks, and you can say, oh, the Knicks are losing and still making all that money in #1 NBA franchise as far as their net worth. You got to look at the same thing with the Dodgers, the Yankees, and Red Sox. They could take these risks on these big contracts, because even if they fail, they'll still be able to pay these guys. I mean, look at the Yankees. They weren't great until 2 years ago. They had a 3 or 4 year stretch where they were winning 85 to 88 games and missing the playoffs every year. That's not the case anymore. Now they're back to, being a good franchise. So I think that the Yankees could possibly get in there and swoop one of those guys, especially if you're talking 250, 200 to 250. That's the Yankees' range, 200 to 250. Anything over 250, they're going to be out of a sweepstakes. They're not going to go any more than 250. Another thing I would say is this: don't be surprised if Machado does go to the Yankees. Do not be surprised if the Padres are in on Miguel Andujar, or they sign Mike Moustakas. But I think that they would prefer Andujar because the Yankees would be wanting to trade him if they sign Machado, and they got the pitching prospects and Andahar won't be costing them a whole lot of money. So that would definitely be a great move and a smart move for the San Diego Padres. Also, there's 9 out of MLB trade rumors top 50 free agents still out there. So there's definitely talent. I mean, 9 of the top 50 free agents. I mean, you got Machado, you got Harper, you got Dallas Keuchel, you got Craig Kimbrell out there, you got Irvin Santana, you got let's see, I got the list here, guys. Gio Gonzalez is out there, Mike Moustakas, Adam Jones, Irvin Santana. Irvin Santana is a surprise too. I want to say this: the Yankees are looking for starting pitching depth. I think it would be a great move for them to sign, Irvin Santana for a couple $1 million, say like $2 or $3 million. I know he got hurt last year, so I don't know when he's coming back yet. I think he had Tommy John or something like that, so he might not be back for a month or two or halfway, through the season. Also, Yankees got Jordan Montgomery and Didi Gregorius coming back mid-season. Guys, don't forget that we do got 2 really good players that are on the DL from Tommy John last year. I think Didi's a lock to come back by, like, say, June. And I think, Montgomery, he's probably, like, later in the season, August or September, you can expect him to come up. And if he comes up and he's doing good, he'll be another lefty that we could use, possibly out the bullpen for the playoff run. If, we make the playoffs, which is most likely. But I just wanted to bring that up. I think a lot of people forget we have those 2 players because they're not talked about because they're hurt. But remember, when the season matters most, the end of the year, the last month or 2 in the playoffs, we're going to have some reinforcements coming. And one more thing I wanted to bring up is the Yankees are at about $213 to $217 million payroll right now, depending on if you go to Roster Resource, Historical Baseball Reference. There's a few different spots. Fangraph, I think, might have it. There's a few places you could go to check the Yankees' salary. Their salary is actually around $200 million, but there's about a $14 million benefits thing that the Yankees have to pay throughout the year for all their players and the roster call-ups stuff. So I think they're close to about $215. That will leave them with about $30 to $35 million before the $246 million threshold, and it would leave them about, $15 million until they reach the threshold of $226 million. So the Yankees are definitely not done. The question is, do they make a big move for about $30 million, or do they make a lesser move for about $10 or $15 million? I could see it going either way, but hopefully we hear some news soon. Hopefully we get some updates. Keep locked in on Twitter, MLB trade rumors. Them are probably the 2 best places you could go for rumors right now is Twitter. A lot of guys that write for a lot of big websites and magazines and newspapers, they post a lot of stuff on Twitter. John Heyman, Buster Olney. There's a whole bunch of them out there. Also, like I said, MLB Trade Rumors has all the latest news and updates that you can get your hands on. And if I hear any more news on Machado or Harper or the Yankees or anything, the Padres being in, the Phillies, the White Sox, if I hear anything, I will post it, I will report it, and I will get it to you guys. Thank you for spending your time watching the video. I'm looking forward to the next video, and thank you guys so much. Please get the likes and subscriptions up, and continue to follow me on Twitter. Thank you, and have a nice day.